God designed the human body to be a highly efficient physical mechanism capable of great performance, but it depends on energy to function. This energy is what we call food. God endowed us with a desire for food, known as hunger, to ensure that our bodies receive what they need. Food satisfies our desires and provides us with the vitality we need, following the natural balance that sustains life. But why would anyone choose to deprive themselves of food? In our current society, we are conditioned to eat 3 meals a day and are constantly told that a good breakfast is essential for the day. Eat to maintain your strength. We are taught in school the importance of eating 3 square meals and exercising to stay healthy. So, why choose not to eat? Society refers to depriving ourselves of food as a diet, often with the goal of losing weight or for health reasons. However, there are those who choose not to eat for spiritual reasons, an act known as fasting. Fasting is usually practiced for a set period of time in order to achieve a spiritual goal. An example from the Old Testament illustrates this. Every year, the Jews were instructed to fast. In Leviticus 16:29, it is written that on the 10th day of the 7th month, everyone was to abstain from work, whether native or foreigner living among them. This is the fast of Yom Kippur, a day dedicated to atonement. Why did everyone fast? Because God wanted everyone to remember the solemnity of his salvation. On Yom Kippur, the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies and offer the blood of an animal as a substitute for the sins of all, according to Leviticus 16:24. He would wash his clothes and offer the burnt offering in atonement for himself and the people. The Day of Atonement dealt with the sins of the nation. Everyone abstains from eating to identify with the priest who sacrificed a lamb in search of forgiveness. Jesus told his disciples, "When you fast," Matthew 6:16-18, "they should not look sad like the hypocrites, who disfigure their faces for all to see. They have already received their reward. But when you fast, take care that your appearance is not obvious to others, but only to your Father who is hidden, and he will reward you in secret. When you abstain from food, even if it is pleasurable, you draw God's attention." Jesus exhorted us not to make our fasting a public display. By saying, "Whenever you fast," he confirms that fasting is a legitimate spiritual practice. Fasting is temporarily abstaining from bodily needs, especially food, in favor of a spiritual need. Instead of eating, you devote yourself to prayer, seeking divine intervention. However, if your intention in fasting is to receive praise, then that will be your only reward. Many people, when considering fasting for the first time, are apprehensive about the idea of going hungry. They worry about how to deal with hunger and the possibility of not being able to stick to it. Advertising, such as that which suggests a chocolate bar to boost energy, can cause insecurity. Others worry about what their friends will think if they know they are fasting. The truth is that you do not fast to impress anyone, and it is often best to keep it private. As Jesus said, "When you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious that you are abstaining, but only to your Father who sees what is done in secret." Fasting is an intimate commitment between you and God. You can fast in private or participate in corporate fasts with your church or others. Ezra fasted with thousands, and Esther asked all the Jews to fast in search of divine intervention. Every year in May, Christians are invited to a national day of prayer and fasting. It is important to note that fasting is not the same as dieting. It is a spiritual practice with many purposes. There are many reasons to fast, always accompanied by prayer. This biblical discipline can enhance your spiritual effectiveness and make you a true prayer warrior. While some claim that Christians do not need discipline, it is through spiritual exercises that we strengthen our faith. Remember, we are soldiers of Christ, and a good soldier masters many disciplines. Fasting is one of them. Jesus taught that as you pray for others, you will face spiritual resistance. Fasting is a challenge, both spiritually and physically. Embark on this journey with a clear understanding of what you are about to do, knowing that the path may present challenges. But the benefits you will reap in the end will certainly make every effort worthwhile. Start slowly. Consider an initial fast as your first step. God will honor your decision to take this step of faith, which, although it may seem small to others, will represent a great step forward in your spiritual life. It is essential that God cares about the intention of your heart during the fast because your attitude is a very important element of this act. Just as when a man proposes marriage to a woman, what really matters is not just the formality of the proposal, but the sincerity of your heart. So when you begin your fast, don't worry about how long it will last. Focus on how your relationship with God can flourish and be strengthened in the process. Remember that God knows everything. He values the sincerity of your prayers far more than the mere observance of the rules. If you have never fasted before, start with something simple, such as abstaining from one meal. In the Old Testament, Jews were instructed to fast for one day on Yom Kippur, which began at sunset and continued until sunset the next day, according to the Jewish calendar. God taught his people to number the days, and in the narrative of Genesis 1:5, the evening and the morning were considered one day. Plan your fast to begin at sundown, or perhaps a little earlier. This means you will skip your usual evening meal, as well as breakfast and lunch the following day. After sundown, many Jews end their fast with a regular meal. Fasting with someone can be a transformative experience. While individual prayer and fasting are essential for intercession, if you are new to the practice, you may want to begin your journey with a companion. If you are seeking a specific answer through prayer, invite someone to fast and pray with you. There is strength in unity. As Jesus said in Matthew 18:18-19, "Whatever you permit on earth will be prohibited in heaven, and whatever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." And indeed, if two of you agree about anything you ask, it will be done by your Father in heaven. Think of it this way. When you plan a vacation with someone, the experience becomes richer when you share dreams and moments together. The same goes for fasting. When you share this experience, your prayers tend to be more focused and profound. Plus, fasting with someone else has additional benefits. Having someone there to talk to about your doubts and insecurities can be crucial. If you're feeling discouraged, having someone else there can be a boost. Being able to call each other to see how you're doing can give you the motivation you need to keep going. Don't forget to celebrate your accomplishments. Climbing a mountain alone can be a testament to your strength, but doing it with others allows you to share in the joy of victory when you reach the top. The same goes for fasting. At the end, you can celebrate and rejoice together, making the experience even more rewarding. Another advantage of fasting with a friend is that it establishes a mutual commitment. You'll be less tempted to break your fast if you know someone is aware of your purpose. Just like with exercise, having a partner can help you stay disciplined during difficult times. When preparing to fast, it's important to look within and understand the real reason you're doing it. There are countless reasons to fast, and you may already have one in mind. When you come across the story of David and Goliath, remember that David faced the giant for a clear and powerful reason, even when others hesitated. It's not just about fasting. We fast with a purpose. Are you willing to give up your comforts in order to pursue something greater? Make a list of the reasons you want to fast and write them down. When you keep your reasons in your head, they can become hazy. Having a visible list will sharpen your focus and clarity. Don't go into your fast casually or carelessly. Plan for success. If you don't prepare, you're more likely to fail. Don't approach fasting as a let's see how far I can go experiment. Some people fail at the first sign of discomfort. Make a firm commitment to fast for one day, regardless of your circumstances. This decision marks your transition from a simple desire to be more spiritual to an active commitment to seek God. You are committing yourself to fasting based on the grace and help He can offer you. Types of fasts. Absolute fasting is fasting in which you completely eliminate all food and water. A significant example of this type of fasting is the one Paul undertook for 3 days after his life-changing experience of meeting the Lord Jesus on the road to Damascus, when he was temporarily blinded. As recorded in Acts 9:9, he neither ate nor drank anything. For your first fast, it is recommended to avoid absolute fasting, which is reserved for those who are in deep distress or who need divine intervention in serious matters, such as deliverance from an addiction or protection from adverse spiritual forces. Ordinary fasting, on the other hand, involves the exclusion of solid foods, allowing only liquids. This practice is commonly mentioned in the Bible, referring to people who did not eat solid food. The issue of fluid intake is often overlooked. In Luke 4:2, we read that Jesus ate nothing for a period of 40 days, but there is no mention of him giving up drinking. When people fast, what do they consume? Many eliminate sugary drinks, such as soda and juice, in keeping with the Old Testament description of afflicting themselves and fasting. Isaiah 58:3. Partial fasting involves eliminating certain liquids or solids, without excluding all foods. It is also known as the Daniel fast, after Daniel who, as recorded in Daniel 1:12, requested only vegetables and water instead of eating from the king's table. This approach did not harm the health of Daniel and his friends. Another example is the fast of John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist movement. Wesley called his preachers to conferences every 2 or 3 months and prepared spiritually by fasting for 10 days before each meeting, consuming only whole grain bread and water. This fasting and prayer were intended to strengthen his ministry and impact the meetings. Rotational fasting is a common practice in Christian circles, often used for medical reasons, to identify food allergies. During this type of fasting, the patient may begin with a normal or absolute fast for 1 day, followed by a cycle in which a new food group is introduced each day, allowing the identification of which foods may be causing problems. How to choose a fast? As you prepare, consider several factors before deciding which approach is best for you. First, if this is your first time fasting, it is advisable to start with a 1-day fast on Yom Kippur. If you are seeking a longer period of time to deal with a serious situation, fasting 1 day a week for 3 weeks may be more appropriate than fasting for 3 days all at once. Remember that you are embarking on an unknown journey and should proceed with caution, learning to balance both your body and your soul. Your first fast should be a normal one, consisting of abstaining from solid foods and consuming only liquids for 1 day. This practice will serve as training for your body, preventing negative reactions when you decide to eliminate both solid foods and liquids. Match factor. Try to align the purpose of your fast with the type of fast you choose. A normal fast may be suitable for routine requests, while a more rigorous fast may be necessary for more serious issues. Comfort factor. Make sure that you feel at peace with both the length and type of fast you choose. When deciding what to eliminate in prayer, avoid doubt and do not worry about doing something wrong. Choose a fast that brings you peace of mind. Time factor. Several factors influence the length and timing of your fast. Think about your weekly schedule. Which days are most challenging? Are there special events, such as holidays or celebrations, that might make fasting difficult? Avoid starting a prolonged fast without being prepared, as you may not know how your body will react or how you will feel emotionally. A 1-day fast is a simple option. Whatever you choose for your first fast, remember that it is a leap of faith. God sees your heart and will reward your intentions accordingly. Prayer. May God grant us wisdom to understand the spiritual purpose and benefits of fasting, reminding us that it is not just abstaining from food that brings us closer to Him, but the sincerity of our hearts and the search for a deeper connection through prayer. May our motivations not be for visibility before others, but for the heart of God, who sees in secret to reward us openly. We thank the Lord for the strength and discipline that fasting gives us, teaching us to depend more on Him and less on ourselves. Amen. If this content was important to you, I ask that you support me by subscribing so that you don't miss the next videos. Together, we can enlighten more minds and expand our understanding. Thank you for being here, and may God bless you.